Abu Hamza has lost his 8-year battle to avoid extradition to the United States on 11 different counts of terrorist charges, including attempting to set up a terrorist training camp in Oregon, in Bly in Oregon, and also his part in the kidnapping of Western tourists in Yemen in 1998. Two other men, Abdel Bari and Khalid al-Fawaz, both claimed to be lieutenants of Osama bin Laden in London, have also lost their battle against extradition, so they will also be extradited. I think we can speak to Julian Knowles now, who's a lawyer specialising in extradition. Thank you for joining us. The news has just come in.
Yes.
This is pretty unusual, this case. It's using this fast-track extradition procedure. Just tell us a little bit, from a legal point of view, about this case and about why it's so significant.
Well, it started in 2004, and Abu Hamza is a fairly notorious figure here in the UK. He was accused of domestic English criminal offences and was convicted of those. And then the US requested his extradition. It's notable because it's taken 8 years to reach this stage. There have been various twists and turns. He had a trip to the European Court of Human Rights, which he lost, and now he's argued that his health prevents his extradition, but the High Court's turned that down, and this really is, I think, the last throw of the dice.
This is the last chance he will be getting on a plane. Do you know how it works now? He's taken on by US planes?
It's literally a question of logistics now. If they're not already here, federal marshals will be here very shortly on a flight from the US, and he'll be handed over into their custody at Heathrow or Gatwick or wherever and flown back to the US. It may be because of his alleged terror links that there'll be a specially chartered plane or a military aircraft for him, but most usually it's ordinary domestic airliners.
We haven't heard yet, although it's looking like the same will be the case for Baba Ahmed and Talal Hassan, the other two men who've been lumped together in this. Now, their case is a bit more controversial, arguably, because their lawyers were arguing they should have been put on trial here. They never even went to the United States, and the offences were committed in the UK, fundraising on the internet and so on. Is that sort of a pretty unprecedented case legally?
It is quite unprecedented. There have been similar cases. Gary McKinnon's case, which is before the Home Secretary, is another case of an alleged crime in the UK being tried in the US. It raises the issue, should forum, as we call it, should the place you be tried be a factor in extradition? The law at the moment says no. There are proposals, there are laws, in fact, which aren't enforced, which say yes, the court should be able to take that into account. At the moment, it's really left to the CPS to decide. They've said, we don't want to prosecute, we think the Americans can. The Americans say, we do want to prosecute, and that's why they're facing extradition now.
Thank you very much indeed, Julian. I know that was a little bit rushed to get all that in. So there you are, Michael. The news just coming through. Abu Hamza has lost his battle against extradition on terrorism charges to the United States. He could be heading to the US within a few hours on a plane, probably sent by the United States to New York.
Yeah, we're hearing the same thing, Dan, that he could well be in the US by tonight. Now, what happens when he gets to the United States?
Well, then he will be formally charged, I would imagine, and will enter the US legal system and will be put forward for trial there. So this whole lengthy legal process was simply to get him on the plane. And once he gets to the US, we start all over again, where he will be charged. He will then go through the long process, undoubtedly, of lawyers preparing their case. It will go before a jury, and that case will be heard. We understand that the US gave commitments that he would face a federal jury and that he would not go to Guantanamo Bay or anywhere else, that he would stand trial, and so we assume that still holds. We haven't got any information, hard information as to where he'll be leaving from here. He's currently held in a prison, Long Lartin prison up in Worcestershire, so we understand it's possible he may go from a military air base. Clearly he's a high security risk. They're not going to just put him on a commercial flight, I don't think. So we understand he'll probably go on some sort of military flight, possibly a US military flight or a sheriff's flight or something like that, and then land in New York. We're not sure where, and then presumably he will at some point, the weekend withstanding, appear before a court in the US to be, formally indicted and charged.